So, today we're going to tackle a huge topic, the collision of artificial intelligence and, well, all of us, the global workforce. And it's a story with two really different sides. We're going to break down the actual evidence for both.
Okay, so let's just dive right in. The question everyone seems to be asking is pretty straightforward. Is AI our greatest new tool for progress, or is it the biggest threat to how we make a living? The data suggests the answer is yes. It's complicated.
And this slide really just lays out that divide perfectly. I mean, on one side, you have hard evidence showing AI can boost the quality of our work by an incredible 40%. But on the other, you've got these stark warnings that up to 800 million jobs could be at risk globally. Now, these two numbers aren't contradicting each other. They're actually two sides of the very same coin. Let's start with the good news, with the promise.
All right, part one is all about the productivity revolution. And honestly, the data here is genuinely stunning. It shows how AI is already amplifying what we can do in ways you can actually measure.
And look, we're not just talking theory here. One big study of consultants found that when they used AI tools, they completed over 12% more tasks. Simple as that. They just got more done.
And it's not just that they did more, they did it way faster. We're talking 25.1% faster. That's like getting a quarter of your time back, which, as you can imagine, is a massive gain in efficiency.
So, okay, they're doing more work and they're doing it faster. But here's the kicker. Is the work any good? Well, the answer seems to be a resounding yes. The same study found a 40% improvement in the quality of the work they produced. So this isn't just about replacing people, it's about augmenting them. And this isn't just some isolated case with one group of workers. When you zoom out, a PwC report found that entire industries with more AI exposure are seeing their labor productivity grow almost 5 times faster than other sectors. So this suggests a really widespread economic shift is already underway. But that, of course, brings us to the other side of the story. Now we have to flip that coin over. Because for all that incredible promise of productivity, there is an equal and very real peril, the displacement of human jobs.
And listen, this is not a problem for some far-off future. It is happening right now. The latest data shows that 14% of workers, that's more than 1 out of every 10 people, say they have already lost a job because of AI. The transition has already started. And if you look at what business leaders are thinking, well, they expect this trend to speed up. This chart shows that nearly half, 44% of leaders planning to use AI expect to lay off staff because of it. And for 21% of them, it's not even a question. They say it will definitely happen. And the potential scale of this it's staggering. That number we saw at the beginning, 800 million jobs, that comes from a McKinsey report looking ahead to 2030. That would be a fundamental reshaping of the entire global job market in less than a decade. So we've got this massive productivity boost on one side and this massive threat of displacement on the other. But the story gets even more complex because when you dig in, you see that these impacts aren't hitting everyone the same way. It's far from even. First off, we've got to talk about something called the productivity paradox. It's this weird thing that happens where a revolutionary new technology, like AI, gives huge boosts to individuals and companies, but you don't immediately see it in the big national economic numbers. And that is exactly what seems to be happening right now. The Richmond Fed points out that despite all those amazing individual stats we just saw, AI's effect on total economy-wide productivity growth still looks pretty small. It just takes time for an entire economy to adapt and restructure to really take advantage of a new tool. The impact is also really uneven across different groups of people, especially when it comes to gender. This research shows that right now, 79% of working women are in jobs considered at high risk of automation. Compare that to 58% of men. And that gap is often because of the types of administrative and data entry roles that current AI is just really good at automating. But that picture could totally change. Longer-term projections suggest that by the mid-2030s, as AI and robotics get better, more manual jobs, think transportation or skilled trades, could become automated, and that might actually reverse the trend. It just goes to show you that the risk isn't static. It's evolving right along with the technology. And finally, there is a huge catch to that whole productivity boom. Research from MIT found that AI is not a magic wand. If you use it for the wrong thing, for a task that it's not suited for, your performance doesn't just stay the same. It actually drops by 19%. So how we decide to use the tool is every bit as important as the tool itself.
Okay, wow, that is a lot of conflicting information, right? So let's just take a breath and pull it all together. What does all this evidence, the good, the bad, and the really complicated, actually tell us for sure? Let's boil it down to what we know for sure. Number one, the productivity boost for individuals is absolutely real, and it's significant. Number two, job displacement isn't some sci-fi fear. It is a reality right now, and it's growing. Three, these impacts are not being felt equally by everyone, not even close. And four, maybe the most important point of all, the outcome isn't set in stone. It depends hugely on how we choose to build and use this technology. And that brings us to the final and, frankly, the most important part of this whole discussion. Given everything we now know, how do we navigate this? How do we get the most out of the promise while minimizing the peril? The research points to four critical things. First, we need deliberate policies to help people who are displaced. Second, a massive investment in education and retraining to get people ready for new kinds of jobs. Third, we have to be super careful and human-centered in how we design and roll out these AI systems. And fourth, this is a global technology, so we need international cooperation to govern it safely. None of this is just going to happen by accident. It requires intention. So, the data is clear. AI is a tool of immense power. It's capable of creating incredible value and, at the very same time, incredible disruption. The evidence is on the table. The real question now isn't what AI is going to do to us. The question is, what are we going to choose to do with it?